started to see which one can be the most retarded. Tinfoil haters, it's time to start the show. Tinfoil haters, it's time to start the show. Tinfoil haters, don't tell them what to say. Tinfoil haters are here to save the day. Sammy are about to get started to see which one can be the most retarded. Tinfoil haters, it's time to start the show. Tinfoil haters, it's time to start the show.
Welcome back to another episode of Tinfoil Haters, you vital idols and conspiratorial nut jobs. Today, we got a fun one for you, picked out by none other than our very own guest, Cinevier. We will get to you in just a moment, but first, my lovely co-host, Sammy. Buddy, how you been, brother?
Good. All right. I knew this one was always, we were going to get to this one eventually. I actually hadn't heard too much about it. I remember seeing the Mothman prophecies with my father and sister in theaters, and like that's about it. So like I was brushing up on some of the lore today, and am I missing something? Is that it? Is that all just the West Virginia stuff? Are there more Mothman sightings?
Okay, it's funny you say that. So
okay.
I'm going to give Cindy your intro, then I'll go ahead and answer that for you. Cindy, tell the people who you are and what you do.
Hi, cuties. How are you guys doing? My chat is not working, so I can't say hello to you, but just know that I will read every comment that pops up if it does. So,
bingo, bango, bongo. Yes, so no, couple of special announcements before we get started with anything. Then I'll hit some of those chats, introduce all you. We'll get that super chat that I see there, Jake Martin. But first special announcement. This is going to be our very first two-parter episode, and that's for two reasons. It is not just the Point Pleasant stuff. We could actually very easily do 2 hours on the Mothman because there is so much more to it than just the West Virginia stuff that just a lot of folk don't know about. However, this will be a shorter episode today. We're going to go for about a total of 50 minutes because Nadia and I are interviewing a director of a documentary that her and I reviewed together over on her stream immediately after this. So we're going to break this one up into 2 parts. We're going to cover the West Virginia stuff today. Cindy, of course, will come back next week, and we will do Mothman in 2 parts because the West Virginia stuff is just the tip of the iceberg. Mothman's actually been sighted all over the world as recently as 2024.
Okay, cool.
I didn't know that
All
part.
right. I did not know.
So does that answer your question as to why we could go so deep on this?
Yeah, but also because I was saying like, this is, but it is a cool story. But I was like, the way that you guys said like, hey, this is a cool one. This is my favorite. I was like, oh, there's got to be so much more. But like, the only like videos I could find on the subject were about like this isolated event in Pleasant Point in like 1966, 1967. I was like, there's got to be more to it. By the way, Cindy, any single time I see that jiggle effect, I'm just gonna have to be like, ma'am.
Well, mine doesn't sound very well, so I'll be taking it off for the time being. But real quick, let's go ahead and get into first of all, we got a bit of a pre-stream legend to acknowledge. We got Jake Martin coming in with that super sticker for $5 dues. $5. Not dollar dues. That's Australia. Just $5. Let's see, what is it? It is nice. It's a video game controller jumping up and down. Because that means we're in control. Man, Jake, thank you so much. We gotta go ahead and give you a clip. In fact, I'm pretty sure we got a clip with your face on it right here.
Chip, you know what? You just made the list. Oh no! Oh, here we go.
There it is. Thank you so much.
I
Let's
see
go ahead.
that.
Let's see who's here. We got a few folk in here. Let's see how many of y'all watching. Already got, that's right, 44 across platforms, 25 on YouTube. Leonardo Gonzalez, Mothman Time Idols, Byron Ablai is here. Tomby, CFH90, Dax Nar, the best mod in the whole damn land. How you doing, Dax? Who else we got? Nosferatu the Vampire. I am his favorite. Twink Cryptid. Yay! Philip Morgan is here. How you doing, Philip Morgan? Thank you so much.
Hi,
Who
Philip.
else we got in the house? Groomer Fist, King of the Simpsons here. Thank you so much, Groomer Fist. Of course,
What a name.
Oh, dude, yeah, fantastic, right? He's been showing up lately. You'll love to see it. Dark Excess is here. Hornstar in the house. The Big Ship. How you doing, Shippy? Thank you so much for coming. Little Miss Anonymous saying meowdy, y'all. Of course, we got Sammy in the chat. Who else? Crovax is here. How you doing, Crovax? Is there anybody else? Am I missing folk? Because I don't want to miss anybody. We just started the show, and we got to get into this one quick because, again, we are on. And then Rick Costa. Rick, thank you so much. Guys, we're going to, like I said, be a special two-parter. This stream will automatically redirect to Nadia's, so stick around when it's over because it's going to, you're gonna want to see what's going down on Nadia's channel. Now, Sammy, you mentioned seeing this in the theater with your father and sister. Is that the first time you heard of the story of the Mothman?
Oh, for sure. I think that movie came out in like 2002. So
Yep,
you know, so I would have had to be in ninth grade. So yeah, that feel old, but yeah, no, yeah, either ninth grade or eighth grade. So that definitely was. I didn't quite understand it. It's actually a film that like I enjoy more like when I saw it again, like as an adult, because I think there a lot of it just kind of went over my head, or I don't know, maybe I was just being like a pissy early teenager, and I didn't want to go to the movies with my dad and sister, which now I would kill to do.
Oh damn, he made it sad already. What about you?
We're both alive. Everybody's healthy. We just don't got the schedule for that anymore.
Gotcha.
We're adults.
Like, my dad is dead, and I won't see a movie with him ever again. Like that's how that came out.
No.
I was about to say, aw.
My daddy will never die.
Oh, we've got to have a talk to him about object permanence later. Sin, what about you? What was your first introduction to the Mothman story, Sinavir?
Actually, I had a friend tell me about it, and I thought she was making it up, but then the movie came out, and I actually saw that.
Wow, an American movie you've seen. Now that's saying a lot. Mothman is real. They only want lamp. Is there a giant moth? Isn't there a giant moth in Silent Hill? I don't remember if there's one in Silent Hill, but there is in Resident Evil. So mine's Mothman, Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Well, mine also was the film, just like you, Sammy. And it is one of the few films because I saw it around the time it came. I didn't see it in theaters, but I saw it around the time it came out, like right when it came to VHS, DVD, that era. And it is one of the few films that like legitimately terrified me, all because of one scene. If you remember, it's the scene where Richard Gere's in the hotel room and he's on the phone with the Mothman, and the Mothman's like guessing everything in his hand, and then he's getting it all right. And so Richard Gere like grabs something without even looking, so he doesn't know, and the Mothman still gets it right. And I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? And then like Richard Gere hangs up the phone and he checks, and the phone's disconnected, so it shouldn't have been working to begin with. It's like, oh, it gave me just such fucking chills. That being said, this is the film was based off a true story, maybe true, maybe not. That's what we're going to discuss here today. So, do you guys believe in the Mothman?
I want to believe.
Good answer.
Sounds fascinating. I would give him a hug.
The Mothman distract you from active military bunkers, complexes. You're not too terribly far off. There is that does pertain to the story. In fact, there's a lot about this story that is very strange and interwoven. So
people were saying there were Men in Black sightings as well. So
yes.
Now, do you? So you know what? That's a good place to start. So we'll start with that. Because you brought the Men in Black. Now you and I covered the Men in Black on a different episode of Tinfoil Haters. What, like December or so? I believe is when we covered it.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Do you know who wrote the book, The Mothman Prophecies, in 1975?
I do not.
It was actually John Keel. John Keel is the man that coined the term Men in Black in 1967. So, yep, he coined the term. Now, the Men in Black supposedly existed well back into the 40s, but they didn't have that name. He coined the phrase. He did so in for Saga magazine, which is like a pulp adventure magazine for like young adult men. Nadia Hollywood Nabs, how you doing, girly? So yeah, the man that actually coined the term Men in Black is the same one that wrote the Mothman prophecies. He is a ufologist. He went around interviewing hundreds, if not thousands, of people about this Mothman story when all these sightings were happening. But prior to that, before we even get into the Mothman himself, let's talk about Point Pleasant. Point Pleasant is in Appalachia, and Appalachia is probably the most like renowned portion of America for cryptids. Do you know anything about like the cryptids of Appalachia in general?
Well, I mean, they have like a wide variety, but that's where you're getting like the skunk bear, and they have all these great names. The type of names that you can only get by sitting around by yourself in Appalachia, you playing the banjo and drinking moonshine.
I was told, I heard, don't wear red.
What?
Don't wear red.
Don't wear red.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain that?
It's like a lot of people who wore red disappeared. I remember like watching a special on it. And it was like, or well, not really a special, but like a YouTube vid. And I thought it was pretty interesting because they said there was like a big correlation between people who wore red disappearing.
Now just in Appalachia, because no people disappeared due to the Mothman. So you're talking about like just something that was happening in Appalachia, like maybe because like for example, Philip Morgan, Sheep Squatch. Sheep Squatch is another Appalachian cryptid. Mothman is also evil villain in DC Comics. You want to correct the statement here, or is this true? Because isn't it Killer Moth?
No, it's Killer Moth. Everyone keeps saying Mothman. They even in the documentary said it, and my eye twitched a little bit. There is a Mothman character that is not a. It is not Killer Moth. Killer Moth is the Batman villain.
Well, damn. Jake Martin says, I live fairly near Point Pleasant. I've never had a Mothman sighting, but shit goes on here. There's no accounting for. Yeah, Appalachia. Now, this is something that I didn't know until doing some research. Actually, Cindy with you the other night, because you're coming on the show, so we're doing some research together. First appeared in DC Comics in '86. So Killer Moth really predates that because he was around in the '60s. So
yes, the one that they were showing wasn't the DC God. Yeah, okay. That's technically that's Vertigo, but yeah, we can get into that. Mothman is a character in Watchmen. He is not a Batman villain.
So this part I didn't know about until doing the research with Cindy earlier. All this portion of Point Pleasant and all the surrounding cities and this part of Appalachia is actually supposedly on cursed Indian grounds from back in the 1600s or the 1800s, somewhere in that general area, where basically the settlers came in. They built effectively camps for their Native American buddies. They beat the shit out of them, forced them into a treaty, and said, "You go to your space. We'll have this space. We'll be chill with one another." And then the Native American chief and his son showed up at the fort.
Hold on, let me guess. And then everybody lived happily ever after.
Oh, you totally nailed it.
Yep, 100%. You saw the Disney version of this story. Savages. They showed up to warn them that there had been a rival. Wasn't it a rival group of Native Americans had been kidnapping people, Cindy, and say, "Hey, it's not us, it's these others. We're here to warn you." Mm-hmm. And the settlers were like, "We don't believe you," and they locked up.
I knew I should have wrote down the name of the tribes on my little notes here.
I should have read. I should have wrote them down as well. I had not. I need Leon to read Blood Meridian because he has Comanche, Cherokee in me, not Comanche. I have Cherokee in me. But anyway, so yes, the settlers imprisoned the Native American chief and his son, and then brutally murdered the son in front of the chief. Then went to murder the chief as well. Wow. With his dying breaths, he cursed the land. And ever since then, there have been earthquakes, there have been massive storms, there's been basically the white folk will never get to live happily on this land again. Now, does that relate to the Mothman or whatnot? Who knows? However, are either of you familiar with another one of my favorite stories, Indrid Cold?
Yes.
Yes.
The Smiling Man.
Mhm.
Something else we'll have to tackle more in depth. Are you aware that he showed up in the first sighting of Indrid Cold showed up in Point Pleasant about 2 days before the Mothman sighting started?
No, that's interesting. That's
Yes.
real interesting.
Yeah, there are theories that link Indrid Cold and the Mothman because yes, the first sighting of Indrid Cold, the grinning man, the smiling man, was November 2nd, 1966, whereas the first sighting of the Mothman in Point Pleasant, not the first sighting in general, but the first sighting in Point Pleasant was November 15th, 1966. So
Okay, so I'm starting to get what
just
you were
2
saying,
weeks
though.
prior.
Okay, the Mothman might be the happy little glue that holds all of our little conspiracy theories together, eh? Like that's
Bingo, bango, bongo, exactly.
I
So-
chose him because he's one of the OGs.
Yeah, Soul Assassin is correct, by the way. There is a theory that Mothman is an alien. And
Yeah.
now other cryptozoologists actually refer to Mothman not as an alien, not as an extraterrestrial, but as an ultra-terrestrial. Cindy, do you know what an ultra-terrestrial is?
They live on a different dimension, but in the same plane.
Bingo. Well, a different dimension, different plane. So basically a different, plane of existence, same Earth, but they can slip through the veil. And that's why we have
okay.
Mothman sightings at various points of time in history, various different locations. But yes, you effectively hit the nail on the head. Oh, yeah. We will be doing Skinwalker Ranch at some point. 100%.
Skinwalkers are fascinating.
Well, Skinwalker Ranch is a lot more than just skinwalkers. But yes, I agree. Skinwalkers are fascinating.
I've never heard of Skinwalker Ranch. This is so
cool. You in for a trip when you learn about Skinwalker Ranch. So anyway, so now with that being said, now we've got some of the.
Can you go down go down to what Nadia said? Nadia, we've been trying to have you on the show since September, my dear.
Yeah, Nadia, we would love to have you as a guest. So when you want to do Skinwalker Ranch, you by all means, you can be our guest for Skinwalker Ranch, 100%. Ultra-terrestrials and inner Earth beings are far more believable to me than aliens. Interesting. What about you guys? What do you think? What is more believable, ultra-terrestrials or extraterrestrials?
I believe in both of them. So I think the universe is far too vast, and the sequence of the order of things, the sequence that had to happen to like create organic life wouldn't be like as random, like to say that there's no other planets that ever happened on. The other thing too is like I also believe in alternate dimensions. Why can't both be true?
Yeah, ley lines, things to that effect. I mean,
yes.
Appalachia is so filled with with cave systems and tunnels under all the mountains and whatnot that you could easily. I mean, there's actually theories that all the cave tunnel systems under Appalachia are ley lines that connect to other parts of the world. Appalachia is a very, very interesting part of not just the U.S. but the entire world when it comes to all of this supernatural and cryptid sort of things. So that leads to the next question. Do you think that Mothman, and we're gonna actually get into what he is, the sightings, how those work, but is he a supernatural creature? Is he of nature? Like, what are your thoughts? We'll start with you, Cindy, since you're the illustrious guest.
I don't know. I want to believe he's more supernatural than anything. Like, it's just, if he's got wings, I think he would be able to fly, and to like different faraway places, and then you don't really know his lifespan. So I don't really think he's an alien, but that's just me.
What about you, Sammy? A creature of nature, something supernatural?
Okay. So we covered the only things that I'm familiar with are the Point Pleasant. And I hadn't heard about anything, what you were saying about the Smiling Man, all that other stuff that might rework things. But as of right now, I believe it's a creature of nature, and it was just, just like a unexplained thing we can talk about when it got into what was it, the bunkers, where there was like 3 bunkers, or it was like it was an old abandoned.
Yes, it was a TNT factory.
Yes, well, there was an area, and there was like 3 matching ones, and then the only one where they thought the Mothman was, like, there weren't birds like flying around it, like they kind of like gave it space. It was like, could have just been like this old like flying predator from everything that happened with those 4 people in the car that seemed awfully predatorial to me.
Well, let's go ahead and get into then, since that's what you're familiar with, the Point Pleasant scenarios. Are you aware of the first Mothman sighting that we have at least on record in West Virginia? What, the date, the times, things to that effect?
It was the November 16th.
No, so actually it was not. That's the first one in Point Pleasant. There actually was a Mothman sighting a couple days prior to that, 2 actually. One in Clinton, which is about 75 miles away. This is the first, again, recorded people coming forward saying they've seen it. There's a group of grave diggers doing work at the local cemetery at night. This was November 12th, 1966. They were jumped by a large man-like creature with wings, with glowing red eyes. He was hopping gravestone to gravestone before flying over their heads, causing the grave diggers to get scared shitless and go report this. Of course, these are 5, working men. So you would think that if it wasn't real, they're why would these 5 dudes risk a reputational damage like that?
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever been on a working crew or been like in a situation like, if you say like, did anyone see that, you're gonna catch shit. So it would have to take something tremendously like outlandish for all 5 of those guys to be like, no, we saw something. I completely agree with that.
Well,
And
they also had this thing called Pride back then, where it was different than today, and they were actually really prideful about being manly.
which men should get back to, in my opinion. But yes, you are entirely correct.
Ma'am.
And then that same night, or wait, was this the night? Hold on, let me look at my notes, because it may have been the same night as the. Okay, so yes, so there's that experience that night. Now you got the Point Pleasant scenario, which happened 3 days later, November 15th. But there was one sighting before that, earlier in the day. About 90 miles. So you've got Point Pleasant. About 90 miles from there is Salem, West Virginia. This man, Newell Partridge, he was a local contractor, said that his television suddenly went dark, was making this weird staticky sound. This is about 10:30 p.m. And then when it comes back on, there's a strange pattern on the screen. Now, he's hearing this loud, high-pitched whine outside the house, so he steps out of his house to investigate with his dog, Bandit. He sees 2 glowing red eyes off near his barn shed area, and Bandit, his dog, immediately gives chase. Well, Newell says, "What the fuck? Giant glowing red eyes." He goes to grab his gun, but he is frozen with fear on the fucking porch after grabbing his gun. And so he says, "You know what? Fuck this shit. I'm out." Goes back in his house. But Bandit never returns and never returned again. So Bandit was gone. So Bandit the dog possibly perished. Well, yeah, poor Bandit. And then we are going now with that. We get to later on that night. Now we're in Point Pleasant. Sammy, tell us what you know from this point on, because I have something additional to add about Bandit. But the Point Pleasant stuff needs to happen first.
So what I can entail was, I said it was November 15th, 1966. There were two couples in a car, and they were driving, and all of a sudden some giant winged creature with glowing red eyes started attacking
couples,
their car.
By the way, did go on record. They've given their names. There are 2 couples, Roger and Linda Scarberry, and Steve and Mary Maylette is the name. They were 2 couples that were like effectively on a double date together. Just so that everyone's aware. Like, these people have gone on record. These are their names. This is real.
So they were out and about, and all of a sudden, this giant thing with glowing red eyes started attacking their car. And not just like one, like multiple times this thing was landing and just really scaring the shit out of them. They sped away. They said that it pursued them as far as like the city limits. So the next And then after this, more and more people started reporting this.
All right, now I'm gonna pause you right there because I said I had something additional for Bandit. During the pursuit, they claimed there was the body of a dog on the side of the road. Nobody knows if this was Bandit or not because by the time the police went back to investigate, dog's body was gone. Also, they were driving super fast, so who knows if it actually was a dog's. However, that connects back to what happened literally earlier that night, about 90 miles away.
That's crazy, actually.
Yeah,
but
so now continue where you're at. I just wanted to add the additional Bandit.
No, and that's really cool. That actually, it's little details like that always kind of like freak me out and go like, oh, see, that's what I live for. So they reported it. People didn't know what make anything of it. The local newspapers started covering it. It was before the Mothman term was coined yet. They started saying it was a large bird with red eyes.
Yeah, it was exactly. He was all the people that had come forth as witnesses to this up to this point had said he is more like a bird or a bat.
Yes. Oh, and I'm seeing here, Bandit was a German Shepherd. R.I.P.
No! Oh, see, I didn't read that part of it. Damn, that's such a pretty dog too.
It is.
It is.
Yeah, but it also ain't no slouch. Okay, like when I was thinking,
too. Yeah.
When I was thinking Bandit, I was thinking like a little Shih Tzu or like a pug or.
Yeah, I was thinking sort of just like a regular, just like a mutt hound that farmers keep around, you know. But man, yeah, German Shepherd, dude. Mothman fucked up a German Shepherd.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, German Shepherds are known for their they're known for their fuckaboutery and find-outery, and which is why the police like them. That's pretty much all I got so far.
Mutant military experiment. I never heard that.
I haven't heard that one either, but I wonder how much of that's taken from like the movie The Fly, Cronenberg or something like that, though I don't know. Now, Cindy, do you have anything to add up to this point before we go forward with a bit more lore?
No, nothing to like really add, but I did discover that they have a Mothman museum.
They do. I would love to visit. It's in Point Pleasant. Yeah. In fact, fun fact about that Mothman museum that you bring up, Cindy, a lot of detractors from the Mothman story, a lot of like wildlife ecologists and whatnot, state that these were actually just barred owls, which are relatively large owls. I mean, they ain't no fucking size of a man, but they are large owls with about a 5-foot wingspan. And because they are nocturnal creatures, when you shine light on them, their eyes do glow red. In fact, the barred owl that was supposedly the actual Mothman owl was shot and killed, and it was taxidermied and is on display. The original Mothman barred owl its body is still on display in that museum.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, I need to look this up more.
Yeah, it's absolutely fascinating stuff. Now, when what's their names? I have them written down right here. So when Roger and Linda Scarberry and Stephen Mary Mellett get to the police station, because they say, you know what, we're going to tell the sheriff. We know they're probably not going to believe us. We're going to go tell them anyway because it's the right thing to do. They are shocked to find out that they are not the first people to report seeing a giant red-eyed creature that day. So the sheriff actually did take them seriously. They drove back out with this couple, this couple of couples, and were searching for signs, evidence, the whole nine. Nothing. There's even the supposed dog's body, whether it be Bandit, is gone. So that is night one of what will go on to be a 1 year and 1 month long just terrorization throughout the course of months of this town, because the final Mothman sighting would be December 15th, 1967, when that fatal bridge collapse would have happened. We'll get to that later on.
So yeah, I did a lot of research on that as well. There's some things.
We'll let Cindy answer this since you're our guest first, and then we'll go to Sammy. Then I'll take the last one. So, Cindy, what about you? Did you enjoy the film Mothman Prophecy and feel it did justice to the particular incident?
I saw it a long time ago, and I was pretty young, so I don't remember a good portion of it. I do remember it really enjoying the film though, and that really got me interested in more of the cryptid stuff.
Sammy,
Uh,
what about you?
you know what? Also, I saw that in theaters when I was not even old enough to drive. So but I do love the film. I was actually gonna watch it tonight when I wind down because I do own it. Just to just think about now knowing what I know now about all the incidents and everything. Watching it with fresh eyes. Let's see. Let's see. But I've always liked the film.
And to round out, I also love the film. As far as it doing justice to the incident, that's sort of a murky question because the film is based on the book, The Mothman Prophecies, and there are major problems with the book. It is presented as a biography effectively of events of what happened over the course of that little over a year. But a lot of the book can be confirmed as highly fictionalized, made up to sensationalize certain things. So there's discrepancies between the quote unquote actual real events and what the book depicts as real events. So it does a great job of adapting the book, but the book itself fictionalizes a lot of what supposedly really happened. So it depends on what you're looking for. So, but that's my take on it. Never seen it, but sounds reminds me of Jeepers Creepers. Jeepers Creepers is a far more traditional horror movie. Mothman is far more psychological, in my opinion. It's
Yes,
more of
I
a
agree.
thriller than an actual horror film. As Nadia would say, horror adjacent. Let's see. So where are we at with that? Oh, okay. So we got a little bit more information here. Yeah. So we talked about him being called Mothman. But he actually is more like so other attributes like the glowing eyes are a lot of ecologists, wildlife individuals are saying no, this was a giant crane, like the bird crane, because cranes they do stand about as tall as humans, like grown men, and also have big red coloring around their eyes. They are not native to the area, so a lot of wildlife folk think that this bird got diverted on its migration path, effectively got lost. That's why they're only seeing the one of this bird, and they didn't recognize it because it's not local to that area.
But those
I'll be real, that
cranes
sounds like a
don't
stretch to me.
cars.
What exactly? Like the story of at least this initial couple of couples, this thing was flying full speed along with their car and continuously fucking with it to the point where they say they got up to nearly 100 miles an hour trying to outrun this thing, and it was keeping up with them with ease. Look, ain't no way a fucking crane keeping up with a 100-mile-an-hour car.
No, I mean, they're not built to fly like that. Like a falcon has like a different wingspan than like a crane does. Like those are meant for same thing with like eagles, for like diving, swooping attacks. Cranes don't have that type of wingspan like that. I mean, they're large and they're impressive. If I saw one at night, it would probably freak the shit out of me too. Because like I'm not used to having them around. Much bigger than the ducklings in the stream in my backyard. At night I might get a little freaked out, but also it's not big enough to attack my car or freak out a car filled with like 4 adults.
It jumped on the hood of a car.
Yeah, exactly.
So as far now we get to the point where people are seeing the Mothman throughout the course, and he's not really doing anything to harm anyone. He's not, minus again freaking people out, fucking with their cars in that initial instance. But now people are there's sightings of him at this point. He's going, hopping from building to building. He's perched on signs. He's
there was a town curfew, wasn't there?
Really?
Because they were.
I don't know if that was real or so. There was in the book, but I don't know if that actually happened or because the book fictionalized a lot of this. So parsing through what's real and isn't, and that's the problem with John Kell or Neil, the dude that wrote this book, is that he interviewed Neil, thank you. Interviewed Keel, my bad. Interviewed so many people. He was very diligent in talking to folks. The problem is so much of what they said was also very much based on what others had says like, oh, I remember this, but did they remember?
Okay.
They remember hearing someone they talked to, because it's one of those small towns where everyone knows everyone. Like all these witnesses were friends and neighbors, and the local news crew.
So it's like a game of telephone you used to play.
Yes, exactly. It became like a game of telephone. I mean, the sheriff himself, he vouched for all of the people coming forward as witnesses. The local news crew vouched for these because it's a very small, connected town. And so you would see, yeah, exactly, a lot of hearsay, as Ryan is saying. So you would hear these individuals giving these accounts, giving these stories, but you don't know how much of it was real or how much of it's just, like you say, a game of telephone. And because he never harmed anyone, it's more of just what is this creature? What's his relation to this TNT factory? And then we get the unfortunate bridge accident. Do either of you guys know about the bridge accident that takes place? Was the exact date? I have it right
December
here.
15th.
Yes. Yep. December 15th, 1967.
Yes, my father's birthday, although he was born in 59. But so on December 15th, when he had to be just a wee lad, he must have heard the death of, unfortunately, 46 people. This bridge, now, which a lot of people said the maintenance of that bridge had been brought into question for years. But one of the pins that collapsed the bridge was the 13th pin.
13 being biblical numerology for death. So,
but that, that seems to be what freaked people out. And also that pin wasn't the worst of the bunch. So they didn't.
Okay. Jake Martin, who's from the area, says the curfew thing is bunk. Thank you for letting us know that, bud.
Thank you. It said didn't claim to know that, but that was one of the things that I had heard. But yeah, so there had been rumors and petitions about getting this bridge fixed, but the thing that failed was this 13th thing when there was other parts of that bridge in worse condition. So that brought a lot of skeptics out, saying,
and the Mothman had been supposedly sighted on this, like perching on this bridge prior, either that day or the week of the collapse.
So it's
Jake, with you being the local, you can let us know if there's anything that might be more local deep history knowledge. Mothman isn't real. I think I saw something flying with red eyes. Something crashed. I don't know, man. I think I don't believe in a lot of cryptids. I don't know about you guys. Like Bigfoot, Loch Ness, those aren't the sort of things I typically believe in.
No.
Mothman is one that I actually do think very well could be real.
Yeah, no, it's like I said earlier. I was like, it's probably that we just witnessed something and we just got it wrong. People travel mouth to mouth. Word travels ear to ear. It's in these small towns back in a time where mass communication isn't hugely prevalent. I mean, like some of the first, you'd still have to call it, like have like the operator like listening on the line while you're like calling somebody. It's not how we imagine free exchange of communication today. Just because sheriff vouches for you, it's because he grew up in the same town as you and like he's known you all his life. Like it was like, far be it. There's people I've known all my life. If they would tell me something like that, I'd be the first one to tell them that they're out of their fucking mind. So, but that doesn't mean that I don't think that they haven't seen something. It kind of just means that I think everybody just misunderstood what they were seeing.
So Soul Assassin says some do think the Mothman is a messenger of doom. That actually did come from this book / this experience. And yeah, this is something that we're going to get into far more heavily next week on part 2, because the amount of Mothman sightings in other times locations, and what followed is very interesting. But I don't want to jump the gun on that yet because we only got 10 more minutes on this bitch. So just stow that note that we're going to focus very heavily on that in part 2. But yes, some people do think the Mothman is a messenger of doom, especially considering he was never seen again after this bridge collapse. However, what we're looking at right here, we have a photo of the Mothman statue in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. I'll be real. This does look more like a moth, even though all the eyewitnesses stated that it didn't. It looked more like a bird or a bat than a moth. So,
well, yeah, they very much kept saying like it had bird-like or bat-like wings. And obviously this is very mothy. Great abs though. Great abs.
oh yeah, fantastic, dude hits the gym. Let me see if I can find where is the. Hold on, because I had another image.
I imagine the holes in the wings don't help any.
No.
Okay, I think that this is the one. Now from what I was reading, go ahead and share this tab instead. This is not a doctored photo. Again, if what I was reading was correct, this was not a doctored photo. There's some sort of, flying, aerial phenomenon here.
Yeah.
So
that's Silver Bridge.
Yes. This is Silver Bridge, the bridge that would go on to collapse. Well, there for those of you that can't tell, there are 2 bridges here. I probably should try and zoom in a little bit more. The one with all this cabling is the one that collapsed. The one in the back, obviously fine. So, yep. Bad omen. Looks like a large ferry. So at this point, yes, yeah, they call it a twink.
It does kind of look like someone like in one of those like squirrel suits.
Yeah, I was.
Did they have those back in the 60s?
They don't, but I'm just saying like that's what it looks like. It it appears to be.
Oh yeah, it absolutely does.
It's a time traveler.
That would be cool.
I mean, it's funny you mentioned that because again, with him appearing in all these different points in history that we're going to move forward from, without, I mean, it's like the Bigfoot conundrum, right? People have been seeing Bigfoot for like hundreds of years at this point. Like, okay, that would have to mean this creature doesn't age, or there's enough of them that they can keep reproducing. But if that's the case, why haven't we discovered them yet? So this Mothman, though, if you believe the the ultra terrestrial theory where he could just slip in and out of the dimension, well, time could pass differently in another dimension. So this very well would probably be the same being and just appearing at different points in times because time flows at a different rate through other dimensions.
See, it makes me want to write a movie now where it was like there are Mothmen in another dimension, and it was like, oh, you can go visit Earth, but only around the time where a Mothman has been sighted.
Oh, that
I have a pitch for a movie I've been writing for a while called My Roommate's a Fun Guy, and my neighbor is a fun guy, and it's about like this new neighbor moves in to an apartment. He's new in town. His neighbor is actually the neighbor's the main character. He's like, "Oh, you're new. Come hang out." And they're playing video. They start budding a bonding friendship, and they're playing video games together, watching the game, the whole nine. Till one night, the main character invites the new resident over to do some magic mushrooms, and it pisses the new neighbor off because he's actually a mushroom monster.
Uh-oh.
His internet didn't like the story.
He got Mothman.
He did. Oh my goodness.
No, and I was liking where the story was going.
I know. I was all
Leon!
I don't think you can will him back in that way. Just remember the government failed doing that.
I tried. Well, so what else is up, Sin? How you doing? I'm sure he'll make his way back.
I'm sure he'll come back eventually.
Yes.
Well, did you find like what you have researched interesting when it comes to the Mothman?
Yeah, but I will say I much more so when people are like, "Oh man, you're talking about the Mothman tonight." So when I read all these occurrences, I was like, "This is the big thing that I didn't realize that there was more extensive sightings or that people had gone on. I thought it was like this isolated thing, especially from seeing the movie. So I'm
Right.
going like, this isn't as cool as everyone's making it out. I mean, it's cool, but I don't understand why it stood the test of time. I didn't realize that people are still fucking seeing the Mothman or anything like that. So like, I am now more intrigued than I was going in. So I'm glad you guys picked it because it expanded my horizons. Because even this was a banger conversation. But if it was just this, I would be like,
It'd be a
well,
really small show.
yeah, but I'm saying, yeah, what's the, what's the big goddamn deal? So now I understand that there is there was parts that I was missing, but I just kind of thought I saw the movie on it. This is the only like stuff that I had heard on it. And
Well,
now that
like,
Leon mentions it, I do remember that scene with the phone, and that was pretty good. But what were you
I
saying?
need to rewatch it. Oh, I was gonna. Oh shit, I don't remember what I was gonna say.
I'll find it, send you the link.
Okay, yeah, please. Crap. I was gonna ask you a question, and now it's gonna bug me. Yeah, I don't remember. That
Interesting.
didn't help me.
Interesting. We have lost a co-host, and now you're losing time.
I
Could
know.
could it be the Mothman?
It could be. It's a conspiracy. Let me hypnotize you.
Yes. Wow, he gone. You know what I'm gonna do? You know what I'm gonna do?
What are
Is
you gonna do?
oh, I can't do it. I was like, I'm gonna send him an invite to his own show.
You could.
Uh
I think he's got a link. He sent me one.
oh, I mean, obviously he would know how to get back in, right? But
The irony of it, though.
Yes. Here you go, bud.
Oh, we're helping. Sammy is
Yeah.
so helpful.
I don't even know if that works that way. Oh, his internet crashed.
Uh-oh.
We were just saying it's strange, dude. It's strange happenings.
It's the Mothman.
But
The supernatural got upset and said no more Leon.
it did. And Nadia, you didn't steal him. Yes, Big Ship. I would love to play Scott Stapp's Marlin song. But that's only on my news show. But it's the lead singer Creed wrote a song for the Florida Marlins, and I play it.
I'm back just in time to tell everybody goodbye because we're really wrapping the show now. Oh man, I am so sorry about that, guys. I've never had that happen on a stream before. It's not true. I've had one happen one other time, but well, all the more reason to come back for part 2 since we didn't get to cover the last 10 minutes of part 1. Yeah, sorry about that, everybody. Well, that being said, we'll go ahead and just say it now. If you are still here, go ahead, stick around. This chat will automatically re-divert to Nadia's stream. She's going to have a fantastic show with her and I interviewing the director of the George A. Romero Resident Evil film. Cindy, tell the people who you are, what you do, and what you got coming up.
Hi, cuties. You can find me on all platforms as Cinevere. I was going to do or drop a vid today, but it might be slightly late. I hope y'all forgive me. But other than that, I hope to see you guys next time.
Sammy, what about you? What you got going on?
I have my news show every Sunday, and and then join us back here next week for Tinfoil Haters. I'll probably also be on Countercast next week as well, so that'll be a double header of Leon and Sammy. That'll be great. And then next Saturday, I'm launching my Batman show Saturday morning. So I've I've had this in the works for a long time, and I'm looking forward to it. So please join me Saturday morning, or not this Saturday, but next Saturday at 11:30, because what better place to talk about Batman than on Saturday morning, you know? So
the line kicked in. He got the zoomies. Yeah, no, that is not what happened. But yes, last but not least, guys, I released a video today talking about Nure, her reacting to her take on the culture war. I gave my take on her take. It was actually a very long video that is folks are responding well to. I mean, I've lost about 7 subscribers over it. So yeah, if you want to see me say what I thought was not controversial whatsoever, it apparently is. Yeah, check out my video. But before you do any of that, wait to do so, because once this chat ends, once the stream ends, in just a few moments, we're going to be headed over to Nadia's stream. This stream will redirect her and I. Like I said, we'll be interviewing the director of the George A. Romero Resident Evil. Let's make this an amazing stream for her, because she worked so hard to get this individual on the show. She deserves all the love and support and success. So we will see you all for part 2 next week, where we cover far more information about the Mothman being sighted worldwide. And until next time, it is all here in the Nerdosphere. And this has been Words of Paradise.